I'm trying to get a job, so I know I love video games and all, but I need to buy more paints so I can do painting and stuff.
Hey, roll up.
There have been a lot of times where I think that, oh, my battery level's low. I'm gonna take the hybrid. There have been a lot of times where I've questioned myself. Questioned my nature, my life, where I stand politically, because I don't like any of it. Sometimes I don't like any of the bullshit that people think that they're in like a free country. Even though, like, I mean, it's free to be able to lock out some stuff, but there should be some checks and balances when it comes to a bunch of people who vote one way or the other and stuff like that. And they try to make it. They try to do stuff that does stuff like that. They like stop people from taking over the White House completely. And for the most part, though, I think that what I'm kind of like hinting at, I guess, or what I'm getting at is if you're on one team or another team, you have to realize that it's not a game of football, you know? Like, that's where you have to realize that life is not a game of football. You have to, I mean, team building and a bunch of different stuff like that is good for a bunch of people, that to be able to lead and follow and something like that. but in a bunch of life situations, football and a bunch of stuff isn't going to teach you how to be able to think critically in a situation, because it's pretty much just going to give you a concussion and you won't be able to think of anything. I've noticed that a lot of times that, I guess, character building or something like that was pretty good in football. Like, it teaches you to like, if someone is not someone, but if something in your body tells you to stop, you can teach yourself how to ignore things, basically, and be able to get something done. But also, too, it kind of teaches you bad stuff as well. I don't know. I just...
Look out the way.
Sweeping people. That's what I'm doing. Alright. I did not mean to do that. I meant to jump over it, but oh well. The more you think about a situation, the more you're able to come up with a solution. And I think when it comes down to it, you're not thinking about that solution if you feel as though that you want to, I guess you don't like the way something looks, or someone looks, or the way they hold themselves. It's really hard, I guess, to be able to hold yourself in this to a certain degree. But I think that a lot of times the real situation is there's something wrong with everyone else around you. And that's the truth, but it's like, it's also kind of a lie, I guess. It's like if everyone's speeding and you're going 40, you know? If everyone's speeding going like 75 and you're going 40, who's the problem? But also, too, in the same sense, I think that there are a lot of times when people think that I guess they think they're gonna explode if they don't do something like They think they're gonna, like, oh, what is it? And in some cases they will, I guess. Like in some cases they do. Like in emotional what's the word? Emotional capacities. I don't want to talk about anything that's like vulgar or anything like that. But man, in emotional capacities, people do wind up losing their shit and thinking that like every single part of their day is like a build up to something. And I noticed that that's what I was doing whenever I was thinking about stuff. There was some sort of build up. There was something that I wanted that was like a build up to something. There was something that I wanted that was a what's the word? Oh gosh. That was a. Oh yeah, and I'm smoking in my room again. That's kind of sucks. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm not doing well sometimes, but
Man, I'm sorry.
I'll be okay though. Squeep, 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 squeep. Scoop, 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 scoop. Alright, there we go. I guess the reason why I question myself is because I constantly want to stay on my toes. There are a lot of things that can go wrong in New Orleans. There are a lot of different people in New Orleans that are, that are less than like honorable when they say things. Not a lot, but there's a few, maybe a handful of people. I guess it gets hard to believe people after a while, and you become jaded. That's what I don't want, and that's the reason why I kind of like backed off from that whole situation, that whole life that like was me going out to bars and having fun with my friends, and then in that situation became me going out and having to go out because it was a responsibility to my friends that were going to hang out, and they wanted me to hang out with them. I didn't think that there was supposed to be a responsibility. Like, I don't know what Brandon or my friends or anybody thought, I guess, what was supposed to happen, I guess. But I know how to have fun, I know how to socialize and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, sometimes I'm not into the stuff other people are into, you know. When it comes down to it, it's not saying that I don't know how to like have fun or something like that, but I'm just on the what's the word? I'm on the fence about stuff sometimes, you know. I don't get too excited about anything anymore. I mean, it's not that I don't get too excited, but I'm not pushed by the same things anymore. Like I'm not pushed by like back when I was 18 or 19 or 20, I guess. I thought metal was gonna be like the everything, and I was gonna like be able to do things with my friends and be able to make things with my friends happen and stuff like that. Then I realized I needed money. Like the money thing was like a big deal. So that idea went down the drain because, or went out the window, down the window, off the ledge, out of the window, off the ledge, and also down the drain. Basically a lot, because I realized that I needed things in order to be able to get that stuff done. I needed to be able to save money. I needed to constantly save money. I needed to constantly think about the future, and I wasn't doing that. I realized now that there are a lot of responsibilities that that come with adulthood, and I can't just think about all the stuff that I'm like hungering for, other than food and water and other things. Like, I'm realizing now that a lot of times it's not because of me that it didn't happen, but I know that if I didn't do it, then it wouldn't have happened, you know? And it didn't wind up happening because, I mean, my friends are doing some stuff now that they had no idea they'd be doing, you know? And I'm doing stuff now that I thought I had no idea what I would be doing in that certain point. And I think that now too that I realize that these things are like they're supposed to be coming second nature into it, and I think there's a lot of standards and precedents set when I think about doing something or going out. I actually put thought into it, and it's not like something that I just, oh, it's fine, I'm just gonna go out and have a party and have a good time. It's just like, no, I meet people that are different than me, and that's a good thing. But I meet people that are different than me, that have different lives and different things, and when that party stops, are they gonna stick around? They don't stick around usually. Like people don't do that. Like they're not like, oh yeah, I got drunk and had a good time. Now that we don't really know each other at all, and I realize that now. We're just gonna chill and have fun together and keep on doing this. I mean, the part of you that gets hopeful whenever you meet someone new, it's like, wow, that's really great that I met someone new, and it's like, or someone new in my life. Like, it's really cool to meet someone new, like to meet new people and stuff like that. But also, like, you have to think like you have to think like, are you gonna meet someone new? Are you meeting someone? Oh my God! All right, well, since I'm here, all right, we're gonna make sure we stay away from this thing.
Citizens report a 996 north of the Las Vegas.
When you do meet someone new, or when you actually like get into your own life and realize that thing about you is like a new thing that you like either got from someone else or were inspired by, or something like that. You start to realize that the reason why they do it is because of like something that was prevalent in their life. The reason why they do it is because it was prevalent in their life, and I think that's where the whole meme culture comes from, I guess. Something was prevalent in someone's life, and I guess that is something that really spoke to them because of the state of mind that they were in at that certain moment. And when you sort of like kick back and relax and try to put on like a supercut of memes or something like that, you start to realize that
this is a no-fly zone. Divert your course.
got it. I'm freaking tight. I'm gonna do some knife dives. Good old country road. But yeah, even though I get most of the stuff that I get from other people, like my content and stuff like that I make, I don't do this to be all the way noticed all the time. I mean, I don't do this stuff to just be noticed. I do this to kind of like relax during the day and then remind myself about what's important. And this is basic therapy. So like, if you really think that there's a good conversation to be had here, then I think so, that's a good thing. But if you don't, like, I mean, oh man, just think about what's important, I guess. You know, think about what's important to you, you know? You know, what's important to what makes you you. And also think about the...
Air support is en route.
Suspect doing 90 miles per hour. Over downtown.
Fuck yeah. Let's see if we can go under bridges right now. There have been a lot of times in my life where there's no way I'm going under that one. I should have freaking gotten out. But I think the biggest part of what I actually think about in these little monologue things, people can think what they want to think about me, you know? They can say what they want to say, because people will say some stupid shit. But the biggest part, I think, in your life that you're missing, the biggest part you're denying yourself, even though you don't get like a lot of... The biggest part I think that people deny themselves is the opportunity of clarity. Like, to know that they're wrong. To know that most of the time they're wrong. To know that most of the time I'm wrong. Like, to know that, to realize that no matter what, it's just personal opinion most of the time that sways people one way or the other, and that personal opinion can be molded and pushed into a series of thought-provoking conversations that make you think, well, maybe the other side has it right and maybe I have it wrong, sort of thing. But it's just basically off personal preference. A lot of people say that there's like, oh well, if you realize that people, like half people around here are crazy because of this one character trait that this crazy person had, well, realize that not all people are crazy, and that person was molded by some other person. That non-crazy person who molded that person who was actually crazy, it isn't like they're not to blame for that thing, you know, or to blame for that thing. They're just to blame. They're put to blame for that entire person's career, like, oh, making a murderer, like all that other different stuff, like creating the lie or the thing that pushes someone over the edge, and then eventually they do become the thing that you say they are. Technically speaking, you're not creating anything. You're not creating anything. It's douchey. It's fucking douchey shit. Trying to act like someone in your life is detrimental to your health, and yet you keep them there, you know? Like, even though, like, I'm just talking about basic, like, constructive meaning of what a sociopath actually is, of what a person that does have crazy traits actually does. Like, the reason why they actually do stuff. Like, I think a lot of times we're completely and utterly, our consciousness, or at least our subconscious, is completely what's the word, suppressed by our own rage, I guess. And as that kind of pushes our or suppresses our what we think is our voice, or what we think is anything, our own personal experience can make what people would call a sociopath, or what people would call a sociopathic behavior, you know, and not completely in a sociopath, or completely in a person that's like, oh my god, detrimental to your health completely, but not that. It would be detrimental to your own health if you didn't allow that person to be able to exist and or exist in your life, if you find them that important, I guess. But the most I think about on a daily basis is the fact that there are so many people that do so many good things for so many reasons, completely like out on their own, you know? And I think that's the reason why people don't do things that are good anymore. Like, there are some people that just don't give to charity, and I think that's the reason why a lot of times, I guess without giving, you know, it kind of makes me anxious, I guess. You know, just anxious, I guess. I have I guess just realize that through your own concentration, you can realize that not a lot of things have to do with you, you know? Through your own peaceful concentration or meditation, you'll realize that you're not the center of the universe, nor will you ever be, you know? We feel a pull. We feel that pull, and we think that pull is something that we created, or that somehow something like us created. And we explain that pull, or that notion of the pull, by saying, oh, it's because of this blah 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 blah. This thing that I haven't done, or this thing that I should do, is the reason why I'm feeling this way. To get down to the real subset of problems in a person's life, you have to understand that you feel that pull no matter what sometimes. You feel that want to do something, that want to be inspired, or that want to apply what you've learned, you know? You feel that a lot, and everyone feels that a lot, I think. There are a lot of times, I think, in most people's lives where they don't even consider themselves, like back when I started this thing, I didn't consider myself a YouTuber. I was gonna just do stuff and try to see if I could work the stock market in my favor. That's all I was gonna do. I was just gonna see if I could get a job, and then run the stock market, basically, and quit smoking, obviously. But that's what I thought. Sometimes I was just going through the motions a little bit, and I realized that there is some sort of community in YouTube, but I also realized that there are people that don't look up. They look a part of the community, but they're not. Like, they consider themselves completely individualistic when it comes to their wants or their things. Like, it's just, Like I've seen selfish behavior before, and selfish kind of behavior is like not at a certain point of dollars, but at a certain point of like of living, I think, or at a certain point of living, you're expected to be able to give some sort of things back to people, and I think the reason why people are able to give or to want to give is in that sense is because introspectively they see themselves in a situation. They see what they went through or how they went through something in a situation, and they want to give to that cause or that situation. They want to give to that situation to make that situation 1,000 times better or $1 better. Or they want to give their time to be able to make sure that something happens, you know? Introspectively, it is not a party affiliation to give to charity. And a lot of people in the Republican and the Democratic parts of governments, or the liberal and conservative, whatever you want to call it, have kind of made it that way. They made it like seem like, oh, if you're this, then you're Republican. If you're this, then you're Democrat. If you're this, then if you're pro-life, then you're Republican. It's like, no, you can be pro-life and still be a Democrat. You can still be a Democrat because it's just a party. Okay? Remember that. It's not an affiliation, nor is it an idea. It's technically an idea, but it's not the idea that is the American government. Like, if you're free to be whatever the fuck you want, you can make your own party. You can make your own thing. Like, you can make your own. You can just do your own thing. You don't have to believe what any president says at all. You just be like, I don't give a fuck what y'all think. Y'all are stupid. And then you can be like Trump, like 20 years ago. And then he got a party affiliation just like what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger switched sides because all that public opinion was bad about it. I really think that the most people who think that there's some sort of like reasoning behind being a Democrat or a Republican, no matter what you believe, are the same reasons why our government is in such shambles right now. And comparatively speaking to what it could have been. Comparatively speaking to the businesses we could have allowed to stay here, instead of completely marking them up with like saying that somehow just because someone is a certain nationality, then they're a fucking spy from someone else, from somewhere else. That's not the reason why the Boston bombing happened. It's not the reason why. Trust me. It's not. The reason why is kind of what Trump says a little bit. The Border Patrol. The Border Patrol, they have been lacking sometimes. They have been lacking in questioning and sometimes even in Spanish speakingness. But there have been a lot of reasons why people think that there's a divide in our country. Because there's two-party system. It's not a two-party system. There's no such thing as a two-party system. There's a two-party media coverage. There's a two-party media coverage. That's it. It's not a two-party system. No matter what people are trying to think, it's just like, oh, we're saving America. It's just like, no, you're not. You're ruining it. You're ruining it because you're filling it with ideas that are not of the international thing. That's the whole reason why they came up with the Paris Climate Accord, is because they feared that America would go bankrupt supporting all those third world countries, and they feared that a lot of times that's the reason why they put a cap on their stuff, because that's what they feared. And then they took it as, oh, they're trying to cap our governmental what's the word, things. And I think that a lot of times, though, there were plenty of countries that didn't give a shit about the Paris Accord or the Paris Climate Accord. But back to what I was talking about. When I think that I feel different, or I feel different in any... There's a light. You under my bed, Bo? Where's he at? That was fine. Cool. Alright,
She is the worst. This coat costs more than you make in a year.
Oh, okay.
Get out that ride, home.
And I think this is the reason why a lot of people don't realize that I kind of saw this, you know? I kind of saw this, like, coming, you know? Like, from the 80s, I think that there were a lot of people that, like, just really didn't understand what people were thinking out there. Like, they didn't understand the fact that yeah, there were a lot of crazy people in the 80s. That's the reason why it's called the 80s, because it was crazy. Everyone was doing LSD. Everyone was taking acid. And somehow they were all thinking that they could possibly have a song and that would change their lives for the better. When understandably so, they didn't realize that the change came from within. The change comes from within. The change is always from within. Realize whatever change you make in your life, you have to first visualize and realize that's going to be a part of your life then. But the more I think about it, the more that I realize that they weren't ready for the change. They weren't ready for what change that they thought they were ready for. To realize that within our own two-party media coverage system, there are like very un-American values. There are people that will hire the same men for the same job over and over and over and over and over again until they get it wrong, and then they'll hire them for another year until they fuck up again. They'll drink, they'll smoke, they'll do a whole bunch of different shit, and they all try to get coke when they're not fucking doing work. And they all do it. They all do it, and you think that they're not, but they promote an economy that could literally tear us apart from within. Because of the fact that it has nothing to do with... Okay, this is what happens when you take drugs, okay? Alright, your body starts to make an overabundance of what people would call endorphins in your life, okay? An overabundance of endorphins, and you have to rewire your brain, because that's what the whole burn your brain cells sort of thing, so to speak, is, okay? You run a bunch of endorphins, okay? So you wind up liking everything about someone, even though you're not that person. Liking every single little thing and changing your life because you think that person is a better situation. Basically, it's like a slow version of Stockholm syndrome. A person who's completely just not even what you would ever expect to be in another person. And then somehow that person becomes your role model, like Bill Cosby. Or Mike Tyson somehow still is looked up to in some regard by a society that he basically beat the shit out of. Or tried to beat the shit out of, and rape, which he did. It's like, that was a fleeting moment of weakness. It's just like, first of all, if you have a moment of weakness, then you eat a piece of cake. You don't rape someone, or hold someone captive, and then repeatedly rape them. And then it's just like our role models, we never fucking psychologically analyzed. Like Kevin Spacey, he was in our fucking movies for like ever. And I'm talking about this because the certain opinions of certain people are literally that fucked up. Like, he played fucked up characters, like, really well. Doesn't that like ring any bells or anything like that, or set off any alarms? Just like, wow, he's really fucked up. Why is he that fucked up? Why can he be that fucked up? You have to realize that I guess that people don't understand that our society in some cases can be built by such fucking crazy assholes that we start following this line and not realizing that that's what those moments lead up to, like, and then it like becomes this whole thing's like, oh, like this is the reason why I do not like Quentin Tarantino, is for no other reason but than the fact that he said that this dude didn't do it, even though this 13-year-old girl didn't want him to fuck with him, even though she's like, oh, it's a 13-year-old girl, don't do it. It's a 13-year-old girl. If you get a boner, walk away. Your boner will go away. Trust me. It will. If you get a boner, it's probably because of you thinking about some other chick. And then you realize, oh my god, I'm projecting every single thing, every single lost love onto a child. And that's what they're doing. They're projecting every single rejection they've ever had and everything that culminates and goes into stuff like that. And that for that, if you have not committed a crime, you need therapy. You need to not give a shit about what people say about you. You need to go seek therapy and not call it crazy, and realize that you're projecting all your emotions onto every situation you've ever had, and you need therapy immediately. Like, you need it. Like, you need it before it becomes something that you don't want it to be. Or that you're sorry about something. Or that you make a mistake or say something stupid. You know? Just do it. Just go get some therapy. If you have feelings of fucked upness and you feel as though that everyone else is out to get you, then you have to understand that it's not them, it's you. You need to feel a little bit better, and it's not because of what anyone else did or anything else that you did. It's because you the way you reacted to a certain situation in your life, like the way you reacted to that certain situation made you completely hate people who do certain things, like saying Merry Christmas or writing down Santa on the fucking gift. The kid knows it's not from Santa. I traded, believe me, there are parents out there that know that their kids know it's not Santa. That know that their kids know it's just a game. It's just a game. It's all it is. Don't blame the words okay, here we go. Don't blame the Bible for killing people. Blame the religion. Blame the people who started the religion and actually killed people and thought that that's what they needed to be able to be free of sin. It's crazy, alright? It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. But don't blame the person who put in a fictional character into something. Don't blame the words. Blame the person. Blame King James. Blame him. Who cares? King James rewrote the Bible and made it American, basically. Blame those people who rewrite the book and don't really know what the last one said, but are like, oh, this is what they were trying to say. Because it's their own words. It's their own words. It's just a bunch of stuff that changes over time to be able to fit the economy or the wealthiness or the non-wealthiness of someone, and saying that, make it as vague as possible so people themselves can relate to it. That's all it is. The people who kill people, that's like the Pope, the first Pope, yeah, that guy was terrible. Like when the first couple of people came out, but also too, you have to think about exactly what kind of environment they were in. Like tensions were growing hard between different countries. Like people were terrible. An entire generation of people died because they just didn't like the way the borders were set. An entire generation of people died, just like got wiped off the planet because of the fact that they didn't like where the borders were set and and what laws were within those borders. Even though it was just because of the fact that they didn't like the person doing stuff. It's like that's what they try to do every single time, and it's like it's never gonna happen. There's never gonna be some sort of revolution where somebody like, we kick out the president and that's how this ends. It's just like, yeah, that's how this ends, but that's how our government shuts down, and then we have no money to be able to afford things, and we have to start doing things ourselves, like picking up our own trash and a whole bunch of different stuff like that. Remember that. What happens when fucking governments shut down sometimes? Trash pickup? Gone. fucking gone. Fucking water, it'll be shut off by in 2 weeks. That's what happens. They shut it down because they don't have any workers to be able to make sure those pumps can get through because they get paid by government. Realize that, okay? Realize it's like the whitest kids you know, okay? They have this apocalyptic situation that they're in, and they're like, okay, I think we freaking beat them all. We beat them everybody. Now it's time to remake society in our own name. Yeah, fuck yeah. Guys, there's this nuclear plant. Let's see, just I'd say 2 or 3 miles down the road, and if that fails, then we need at least 5 guys to be able to run the entire thing. If it stops, then the nuclear plant will explode, and we wouldn't want that because it gets in the groundwater and kills everything. So realize that. Realize that thing, okay? Over there. The fact that, I don't get what people are trying to get out of this. She's like, oh, you don't like the West? She's like, yeah, we didn't like anyone. That's why we came here. There were a bunch of different people who just hated everyone, and they all came here. Just all hated everything that everyone was doing, and they just decided to leave and go somewhere else. What are we going to do? Go to the stars and then just hate everyone again? It's fucking stupid. You gotta be happy with what you're with and happy with what you have in order to be able to get to another place and actually appreciate that place. Realize that before you start going to the space, guys. You need to start appreciating Earth more often, because if we just look for natural resources, then that's all we're doing. And if you're only looking for the needful things, I guess, or the needless fucking drama that goes along with whatever you're with, whatever you're thinking about, it's not that's fault. It's not that thing's fault. It's not the idea's fault. It's the fact that whoever promoted that idea also did some fucked up things. And also did some stupid shit. And keep looking at my face. It's really great. I have a beard. Yes. It's not that person's fault. Alright? That they got fucked up and started doing fucked up things. Like Einstein, fucked up person. Gandhi, completely fucked up individual. Hitler, he didn't do that much, but he pretty much told them to do it. He's like, oh, Hitler didn't do anything wrong, but he said some wrong shit. And that inspired a bunch of people to go murder a bunch of people who were from a certain race. That, yeah, inspired a bunch of people. They were really inspired, and they were like the tyranny of the blah 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 and all that other different stuff. It's like no matter what personal thing you're going through, realize someone can take that and spin it and make it into their own murderous rampage. All right. No matter what you're doing, no matter how you're doing it. And granted, freedom of speech is a thing, but I've also been pretty responsible with my words, except for when I'm on here, because I know that no one's going to watch anyways. So, realize this. People are always going to act like it's your fault. People are always going to act like no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, it's always going to be your fault. People are going to say that. You have to be able to forgive yourself for whatever you think you did for them. Understandably so, being able to forgive yourself is really hard because you have to be able to not give a shit about what else they're saying about you to try to make you feel mad about yourself or mad about them. Mad that they're just there, I guess. You have to be secure in your situation in order for you to not give a shit about what other people are doing, because no matter what they're doing, if they're doing something that's wrong or you think that it's wrong, it doesn't matter, they're still going to do it. It's stupid, it's fucked up. It's like going to a heroin den and being like, guys, what's up with all these drugs, man? Y'all got to quit these drugs. They're not going to quit. They're not going to quit doing it. They're going to keep doing it until most of them die. And then they're going to be like, whoa, that guy died. I need to stop this stuff. Right? Because that's what happens. People think they're immortal. They have delusions of grandeur on a daily basis. And if they got therapy beforehand to realize that they weren't immortal and they're not immortal and it's not going to happen, if they don't realize that point that they're not immortal, they still think that things are going to go their way and then somehow it's all going to work out. But if you really were immortal, things would kind of suck. Because you'd have to watch your entire family, all your friends, including the entire civilization, all die, and then you be the only one left. And then a new generation comes up and evolves and does stuff, and technically you just be the hugest child molester ever. It's what you would be. Like, if there was some sort of structural breakdown in society as a civilization, you'd just be a huge child molester. It's like that whole generation of people who are like, oh man, you know, it'd be really cool if I could go out there and have sex with an alien. She's like, you know what? It's not always the thing, because if you think about it, aliens are like not used to this planet, and what we went through to be able to do that, it would probably cause us an STD. Unless they've been on a planet and we're going to that planet, whatever kind of thing they use to be able to travel through space long term probably wouldn't be the thing that we do, so we'd get sick from them. We get sick from them, or they get sick from us. I think a lot of people didn't realize that people are different sometimes. Whenever they're different or something, they realize that eventually, like, sometimes, I don't think that there were a lot of those blankets as much as there were dudes having sex with Native American girls. There wasn't so many blankets as much as there was herpes, and herpes simplex too. And realize that, because there's more of that than there was of the whole smallpox blankets. Because not a lot of those got there. So realize that. There was a lot of fucking going on. And whenever two civilizations who kind of like each other and want to make children together, because a lot of them did. I'm proof of that. How's it going? We got a lot of stuff inside of us. I got a red beard, I got brown hair, I have blonde eyebrows. Or an orange beard with like hints of like a bunch of other different stuff too. I have like really blonde underarm hair for some reason. Really blonde, you can hardly even see it. And there's that. And also have dirty blonde crotch hair. So there's that too. It's really great. I haven't shaved in a while. I'm a bear. But I'm not like a homosexual dude bear. That's a slur, man. It's not a compliment. Whatever. Who cares? Just realize whatever you think is out there, just have an open mind. Have an open mind to it. Realize that it's not all fucked up. Realize not everyone's out there to get you, you know? Sometimes people are just out there to have a good time. They're not always ruining your life. And I'm speaking to myself on this one, because I've had so many fucked up thoughts sometimes. It's just unbelievable. Be yourself, and make sure that you're able to think, because if you're able to think, then you're thinking about yourself, and that's a good thing. When you think about yourself and when you think about the other people around you, you start to realize that you're doing things by association. You're being good by association, and then that turns you literally from a 180 from being stupid or jealous or just straight up fucking stupid douchebags that just think that they're the best person ever, and then they find out that they're not, or they see someone that says that they're fucking stupid, and then they just immediately start crying like little bitches for no reason, because they think that why would people say that about me? Just realize that's the selfish behavior. And when kids were children, they used to think about themselves constantly. Just think about yourself, and then realize that brings you to a whole new direction of people and things that will help you along your way. And Be yourself. Have a good day, and you are your own one-person bomb squad. You can defuse situations that happen. You can go get therapy today. You can have therapy today, and this is my therapy pretty much. So make your own if you can afford it, because I can't. Hey, Bo.